This is Frank Islam, Chairman and CEO of FY Investment Group and your host of Washington Current Review, where we interview leading voices from business and politics that impact you, the viewer. Today, our guest is Manisha Singh. Manisha, welcome to our show.
Thank you, Frank-ji.
So, tell me a little bit about yourself. Why are you involved in politics? What does it drive you?
Well, I have always been a person of service. And
Person of service.
Yes, I've always been part of a volunteering for foundation, one way or the other, some cause all my life. And when I moved to this country 20 years ago, I saw we are great students, we are great neighbors, we are great co-workers, we are great contributors to the economy, but we are not active citizens. As Indians,
so it's a civic engagement.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I got involved during my schooling in Michigan and never saw back.
So, why would anybody be involved in politics?
Well,
what does it do to define the landscape of America?
Everything. And we are not just talking about national politics or the general elections.
Well, the
we are
local
talking
politics.
Every level. So basically, if you have a car that you drive on these streets, if you have a child who goes to school, if you are looking for better opportunities, economic opportunities, prosperity, anything, politics is part of your life. And if you are not going to be out there and trying to influence the policies, you really cannot stand on the sidelines and complain.
So what you're really saying, you want to make sure you have voice?
Yes,
make sure you have seat on the table.
Absolutely.
Because the politics, everything you do is affected by the politics.
Absolutely.
So let's talk a little bit about your role as a member of the Democratic Party. I know a little bit about the Democratic Party.
Of course you do.
I have been involved with that for many, many years. There's not that many people that
Thank you very much, and we are very proud.
So tell me a little bit about what is your involvement, what's your engagement is?
Not very long ago, I got elected into Congressional District 11th Democratic Party and the Central Government Democratic Party of Virginia. So what we do is we carry on.
So this is at the state level?
Yes, it's at the state.
Not the National Democratic Party?
No, it's at the state level. And what we are responsible to is to conveying the message to the community. So we basically are the conduit between the Democratic Party and our community. At the same time, we take the feedback to the Democratic Party. Now, we also are engaged at grassroots levels where we can see what is needed to our for our community to be better, and we do take that back to the Democratic Party, and in a sort of way, we are the voice of the community at the Democratic Party, and hopefully we can influence the messaging, we can influence the things that are done in our community from the inside.
So do you believe firmly and strongly that the Democratic Party in Virginia has a unified, appealing message that resonates with the people? And if so, what is that?
I absolutely do strongly believe we are unified.
And appealing?
Appealing, yes, to the most part, considering where in Virginia you're talking about. And we do recognize that we can work a little harder on the messaging part of it. We do think like everybody understands what we stand for, and for the most part we do. A lot of people do understand what Democratic Party stands for, but the messaging should never stop. So what does
the Democratic Party stand for?
Inclusiveness.
Inclusiveness, okay.
It stands for inclusiveness. It's a party that welcomes everybody.
It's a social causes.
Yes.
What about job? What about the economy? What about building prosperity, creating wealth? What about entrepreneurship? What about all those things?
So you cannot remove schooling or economics from social. To making your people happy or making sure they are content, they are safe is a big part and a big responsibility of the government, and that's what Democratic Party stands for. And they have constantly been striving for, and of course, I should not be preaching to you. You know, the economy has always done well under the Democrats. So yes, so we are very cognizant of the economic needs of the people of Virginia, and we have always done well to them and made positive impact. And in November 7th, once Ralph Northam is elected as governor, I'm pretty sure he's going to continue the good work our current governor, Terry McAuliffe, has been doing, and we will see the growth going in the right direction.
So the question, I want to just don't go to the national politics, and I can ask you all kinds of questions.
No.
My question to you is, what's the biggest challenge this party and you face today? Beside inclusiveness, and there's a hatred and a bigotry, the divisiveness, destructiveness, we got to be unifier, and that's what you think the party stands for.
I absolutely think that's what the party stands for. Now, I did not select a party and start following a party. I selected the causes and then chose the party. So basically,
So whatever resonated well, that's the reason you selected Democratic Party, because they believe in what you believe in it.
Absolutely, and for me, always social values or social issues come much higher than saving a few bucks, because if you're not safe, if your schools are not good, if you are not inclusive of everybody and everybody don't feel part of this population, you can never do well, doesn't matter what else you do.
Well, the inclusiveness is one part of the platform of the Democratic Party, the jobs, economy,
Absolutely.
prosperity, and also for the health care, which they believe in,
Absolutely.
education, to make sure that we can educate our children, make sure they can become part of the 21st century workforce, make sure they have ability and to be part of the workforce. So if somebody wants to get involved in politics, what do you tell them in the audience?
Well, for the young generation out there, for the Indian American youth, I would definitely say start volunteering in any which way possible. We have a big election coming up. Get engaged in the grassroots level. There are a lot of great organizations who are making big strides in the economy of Virginia. So get involved, try and see where you fit in and work from there. And there is a lot of room for all of us. We should get involved, be active citizens. There is nothing more important than that.
So I hear being an active participant in the political process, and make sure you get involved with the grassroots, which is what you said. Make sure you...
starting point, yeah.
Okay, make sure you go vote.
Oh,
because that's probably the most important part
absolutely.
of it. Most of the millennium do not vote. And that was the message you have for the younger people. So my question to you, that you are a president of IAP.
IAFP.
What does it stand for? What does it do? And why are you involved with this thing?
So IAFP stands for Indian American Forum for Political Education.
Excuse me, Indian American what?
Forum
Forum.
For political education. So what we do is basically we engage our community, the Indian American community, our diaspora, in a dialogue with our elected officials and our candidates. So we host...
So you facilitate the discussion.
We do. We actually... And we have had a forum just a week ago where we had all the elected officials and the candidates currently running for 2017 general elections. And we had an open discussion where we had an open floor where people could ask questions to our candidate for governor, candidate for lieutenant governor. Our current Attorney General Mark Herring was there, and so many other House of Delegate candidates. It was an extremely stimulating discussion, and it was very well received. And this is how we try to engage our community into the political dialogue.
So what kind of a messages and what kind of concerns and the question did you hear from the community that that the Democratic Party is doing and what you're doing it to make it happen?
So the major concerns, of course, if you're living in Northern Virginia, you would have seen that is the traffic, the congestion.
The traffic, the congestion, the transportation.
The toll roads, yeah, the toll roads. And of course, a lot of people were a little bit concerned about the safety. You know, it is, so Northern Virginia is a metropolitan area where you see so much diversity. And when a young adult walking from the mosque to her home gets killed, or when another person just gets accosted in a parking lot of a bank and asked to go back to her country, these are things you don't want to see in our area. And there is a very good proverb in Hindi, "Jaan hai to jahan hai," like, if you have your life, you have everything. So, safety comes first, and a lot of people were concerned about what they are going to do about minorities being under attack. So these were some of the major concerns on that day.
So what's your thoughts on the banning that the president talked about it, and what's your thoughts? So I hear a consistent message from you about inclusiveness and hatred and bigotry and violence, but I did not hear the concerns the majority of the American has. They do have a concern with safety, and especially in Northern Virginia, healthcare, education.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
And those are some of the important issues: job, economy, and realizing the American dream, and especially for the middle class. I mean, that dream is gone. And there's an income inequality and justice in America between the people who have it, who do not have it. You did not hear from those people those kind of messages?
We did, but like you said, I had to choose which were the most important, and I think the most important were traffic, which is closest to you.
So it's a local mostly?
It's mostly local. And of course the travel ban, which our Attorney General has fought and shot down previously, which is great, and I'm sure he's going to do it again and again, and he has all our support to do that. And let me make something clear. There is no issue, or there is nothing that is not important. Everything is important. Economy is important, education is important, healthcare is important. Everything is extremely important. Financing your student loan, everything is very important. But when you pick and choose, you have to make sure I choose from my heart, and I definitely
you chose some of the social issues.
Absolutely, and social issues are the most important for me. Yes.
So, this organization that you're president of, IAFPE, what does it stand for, and what is the role and responsibility the president of this organization is, and what does it do to help the community?
So, like I said, it stands for Indian American Forum for Political Education, and what we do is engage our community and the elected officials and candidates. So what we want to do is, unless you are an active citizen, you cannot have your voice heard. It is okay to stand and work hard, make your living.
Active citizen means being a participant in the political process.
In the entire process, exactly, from voting to attending all the town halls, making your needs heard, making your concerns heard is extremely important. And there are a lot of challenges that we Indian Americans, though we are economically doing quite well, we do face that many don't, and we have to make sure those are heard, those get attention, and we get resolution. Before me, there have been extremely great people who have worked in this association. You might know some of them very well, like Satish Korpe ji, Ram Singh ji, Sampath Krishnan ji, and they all have made such amazing contributions through this organization to the Indian American community. And hopefully those are real big shoes to fill. Hopefully I can do something that will leave my mark.
So I hear the political engagement defines the landscape of America.
Absolutely.
And it also creates a common cause.
Yes.
That allows people to build a country, not just for selected few, but build a country for all.
Right.
Correct.
Absolutely. Yes.
And so your main responsibility and the role is to interface with the people who have been elected officials and with the Indian American community and listen to their grievances and concerns,
Right.
and also to make sure their concerns have been well taken care of, and make sure there are some legislation that could be potentially can be passed if you can get past something, because the Republican had the majority in the
Right.
Senate and the House.
Right.
Not on the national level, but also at the state level as well.
Right.
But so that's the kind of things, as I hear, that's the kind of a conclusion that I draw from your statement.
You are absolutely right, and that's exactly what I want to say is involve yourself in any which way in this dialogue, because if you think you can stand on the sidelines, look inside and expect things to change, it is never going to happen. get involved and be the change you want to see. Make sure your voice is heard.
So be a change maker.
Absolutely.
I hear.
Yeah, be an influencer. Yes,
Influencer, being a change maker.
Yes,
Make
yes.
a strong impact and influence. Be a difference maker. That's what I hear
Yes,
from you.
yes,
And must have a positive impact.
yes.
Okay. So my next question to you is, what is the future for you personally and for the Indian American community? If I interview you 5 years from now, what would you say that these are the things I have done that has been a success story, and we have been able to accomplish, but we have a lot to accomplish still. There are several things that we can accomplish. So what would you say that?
Thank you very much. And I will still be involved in some way or the other with our community, which I've always done. What I'm trying to do is, being an Indian, I've always seen our mothers have greater influence on the children. So what
Well,
I
mother always have influence on the children,
Yeah.
regardless what their ethnicity is, right?
Right, but more so because they educate you, they influence how you think, how you grow up, and so much more. So what I'm trying to do with a small group of women are engaging women into the political process, teaching them why it is important so they can take it back home, and they make sure their kids understand how important it is. So they grow up at a young age, they grow up with the understanding that they have to be involved. There is no other way. They have to be involved. So that's what I'm trying to do. And hopefully, even if I've changed like 10 minds, I would think
You have been successful, that's what you're saying.
that will be my measure of success. Yes, if I influence any mind to be involved, actively involved in this process, I will think I've achieved something.
What makes the Indian American community as a role model, as an immigrant role model in this country? What is the something about them that makes them work hard, aim high, and pursue their dream? So what is in it? Is that part of their gene? Is that who they are? Is that the way they're brought up?
I think it is part of our culture. I definitely do think so. So fortunately, Indian culture, we have always given a lot of stress on academia, like get educated. Education is your out from any.
Well, education is the gift that creates the next generation. It also powerful equalizer to get people out of poverty. And there's no question about it. Education is the key ingredient of success.
Key ingredient to get rid of it.
I call them a key to the kingdom.
Absolutely.
It's a bridge to the future.
And that's how we are built. We have built to understand that education is your key to any to success, and it is your path out of any sticky situation. So we always put a lot of focus on education, and once you're educated, you know what, you have so many options to pursue. So economically, we always do very well because we have been taught that, you know what, be secure, financially secure. India has never had any not just entitlement, but any program that will take care of you in the future. So you are always responsible of taking care of yourself. There is no universal health care, so you're responsible to pay your way to get good health care. You are responsible to pay your way to retirement. You are responsible for everything. You don't get anything. There is no social network that gives you anything.
Well, it's not entitlement.
There is no entitlement program in India other than, of course, there are some public schools and public hospitals.
Well, they cannot afford it, Manisha. They don't have the money. They don't have the means, and they don't have the, what I consider the, they probably don't have a compassion to do that.
Compassion is the word. I heard resources. Resources is not the word. You know, we are a growing nation and we have a lot of wealth. It is, I think, the policies that are missing. Well, I'm not going to talk about India because I've been out of India.
You're an American. So
I've been out of the country for 20 years.
I mean, you care about India because of the fact that this is where you were born.
Absolutely.
And you care about to make sure that the India prosper.
And let me not paint it in a bad image, because I am proud to be an Indian, and I think a lot of my strength comes from my Indian roots. But I also feel like we focus so much on our economic growth, we let a lot of social things slide, and it is time we stand up. We always think bad things are going to happen to someone else, never us. We need to stop thinking that. When there is, again, I will go back to my my pet peeve, that is like inclusiveness and acceptance of all. When someone is attacking you for the color of your skin,
because who you are.
yeah, of who you are, doesn't matter if you're an Indian who was born and brought up here. If you have a darker skin, you're going to be attacked. So
And
please.
there are some cases in India also about inclusiveness.
Oh,
and hatred
absolutely.
and bigotry. There's a problem with freedom of press. There's a problem with freedom of faith. There are several freedom of expression, because there's several journalists that have been killed. There has been cow lynching. The list goes on and on.
Right, and
Correct?
I will tell you, I am not kept up with my Indian politics and what's happening, but there is no country without problems, but being vested in this country, I will tell you things that I want to do for this country and things that, so I always tell people, India is my parent, like it's my mother. So whatever India does wrong, I'll never be mad at India, but US is my lover. It's my husband. I chose it. So you know what? Anything US does is reflective on my choices. So I am more concerned with how I represent this country and what I contribute to this country than anything else.
Well, I think your message is stronger together, and together we can help shape a better future for America. And
I could not have said it better.
We can build a country that's a fairer, a stronger, just, and tolerant.
Absolutely.
And that's what you're saying.
You got it right.
Thank you very much, Manisha, for
My
coming
pleasure.
here. Thank you for watching this show. This is Frank Islam wishing you a great week.